Well, good morning, crosswalkers. How's everybody doing? Well, it's good to see you. I'm doing a song I haven't sang in, I think, a few years, and boy, it's showing my age when I picked it up and tried again. We'll get it. Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, it's screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. Hope that you fall in love and it hurts so bad. The only way you can know is give it all you have. And I hope that you don't suffer but take the pain. Hope when the moment comes, you say, I did it all. I did it all. Yeah, on every second that this world could give, I saw so many places, the things that I did. Yeah, with every broken bone, I swear I lived. Hope that you spend your days, but they all add up. And when the sun goes down, hope you raise your cup. Yeah, I wish that I could witness all your joys and all your pain. But until my moment comes, I'll say, I did it all. I did it all. Yeah, on every second that this world could give, I saw so many places, the things that I did. Yeah, with every broken bone, I swear I lived. Yeah, with every broken bone, I swear I lived. Yeah, with every broken bone, I swear I lived. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Welcome to Crosswalk on this little bit of a drizzly day. Anyone know what happened to our spring? Just wait. In a couple of months, we're going to be going, where is the rain? Where's the cooler weather? Just remember that. It's coming. Again, welcome to Crosswalk. If you chose to be here today, thank you for choosing to be here today. I want to encourage you, if this is your first visit, to stop by the welcome table back there. We have a gift that we're going to give you that will give you a little more information about our church and why we do what we do and how we teach the way we teach. But also we have several books back there. We would like that to be our gift to you. So stop by and choose one of the books that we have available back there. And please, if you ever have any questions about Crosswalk, please don't be afraid to ask Pete or ask myself. We'll get you the answer, whatever we can do. So want to remind you, pledge forms. There is a box in the back where Carol is standing. You can put them in that box today. Everyone was encouraged to bring them today. If you did not bring it, or you lost the original copy and you need one, there's some next to the box back there. But we are encouraging everyone to do a pledge sheet and get it turned in so we get an idea of the capital campaign. And if you haven't heard much about the capital campaign, you're going to continue hearing more about it. So lots and lots of great stuff going on here at Crosswalk. One of the things I want to share with you is we were told the Recovery Resource Center is a 501c3. It is a nonprofit here in town that primarily had to do with supporting the AA community. They have decided to disband their 501c3. And so the funds that they have, they are going to divide against 3 organizations. We're at the top organization. So they're going to be sending us a check for about $18,000. Isn't that awesome? And it is because we have so many of the 12-step programs here, and they realize the Raising the Roof is all the flat roofs where they come in the hall and go into the fireside room, and also the parking lot. So that's why they decided as a committee that they decided that they were going to give a substantial amount to Crosswalk. So was very excited to get the call about that. So just want to share that with you. Now I want to remind you that on Tuesdays, Pete is doing Praxis at 12 noon and at 7 p.m. They are studying the book of Acts. So if you want to get to know a group of people on a deeper level than sitting here in church with them, this would be a perfect opportunity for you at either one of those classes. And then I want to remind you, Carol is also doing Old Testament 101 Bible study on Thursday evening. And it's in conference room 1 right across from the kitchen door. So be sure you come. Carol totally knows how to teach. She's a retired school teacher. She's my office volunteer on Tuesdays, and I can tell you she does a lot of research for each one of those classes. So want to encourage you to come and be part of that and learn more about what is being taught of the Old Testament, because we don't hear a lot about that. Now, Ann, you want to come on up and share with us?
I'm back, or actually the community is back. So after conversation with Pastor Pete and how well received the January Health Series was, we've expanded it even bigger, and we're hoping you will help us invite the community to these health series. In May, it will be the brain. We have 3 weeks in a row at 12 and 6:30. I do have a couple guest speakers lined up because my expertise is really in the health, nutrition, and diabetes. So please come. Each series is segmented, so you can come to one or you can come to all. But in particular, on May 14th, I have a research scientist that has studied the brain, behavior, nutrition, and he added a little comment this week to me about spirituality. So I don't know where he's going with all that, but he's done a number of studies. Save your calendar for August. That will be a series on the heart. And then in November, it's National Diabetes Month. We'll be approaching diabetes in a general health session. Thanks so much. I look forward to seeing all of you.
Thanks, Ann. And I also want to remind you that we're going to be doing a saunter next Sunday, right after the May 4th service. They're going to meet here right after the service. They're going to carpool over to Sonoma to Jack London State Park. Carrie's got some cards down here if you want more information on it. And also Candace is up in the sound booth today. That's why she wasn't down handing them out as you all came in. So want to encourage you, if you are looking for not going for a hike, they're going for a saunter. So most people could do a saunter, even if you're like, I can't hike, it's just too much. A saunter you could do. So I want to promise you and encourage you to please plan on staying and being part of that. And then Pete, you want to come up and share with us about May the 4th.
Morning, everybody. Next Sunday, May the 4th be with you, right? We are leaning heavily into Star Wars Day here. So when you come, we're going to start off right away with a Star Wars themed brunch. So bring your friends, 10 o'clock. You didn't even know there was interesting food related to Star Wars. Well, you will next week, all right? So come and enjoy that. We're going to have some pub trivia kind of things happening at the front part of the service. We will have a costume contest, so you Star Wars nerds, this is time to get your game on, all right? I already have my shirts, very subtle, but it is 100% Star Wars, so you can look forward to seeing that. So please come, and the teaching next week will also be super cool. I'm so excited to share this with you. I've been playing with this idea since it's going to be Star Wars Day, about the idea of the Force as a metaphor for God. How do we understand that? And what are the differences between the Force that we see in Star Wars and the God that we talk about and experience? So rather than just me thinking about it, I called up a couple of friends, Tom Ord and Andrew Davis, and had a 30-minute conversation with them about nerding out on how do we understand God in relationship to the Force. It is fascinating and interesting. Your head is going to hurt after you hear a couple of these guys talk, but it's going to be so, so good. Both those guys are authors that we feature on our book table. Tom Ord, that should be a very familiar name for you now with all the work he's done here. And Andrew Davis, he's the guy that edited that book, How I Found God in Everything and Everywhere, or Everyone, something like that. So anyway, brilliant, brilliant guy. Can't wait for you to hear that. So next week, may the 4th be with you, okay? And also just a quick nod, registration period is open for Camp Crosswalk 2025. This is for elementary kids up through grade 5. So if your kid is getting out of grade 5, they're going to be 6th grade next week. They still can get in, or next year, they can still get into this camp. And I just want to clue you in about how we do things. And at first, this may seem kind of counterintuitive, but it's actually deeply related to what we're trying to do in our whole program. Years past, we used to broadcast as big as we could, whatever VBS, Vacation Bible School, we were offering. And we would get a lot of children here. And what we learned over that is a couple things. One, we learned that it was really fun to have a whole lot of kids that we'd never seen before in our program. Number two, we recognized that it took a whole lot of volunteers to pull that off. Number three, it exhausted those volunteers because there were so many. And number four, we realized that there are a lot of parents in Napa who figure out when the VBSs are happening in all the churches and just line their kids up. It becomes very cheap childcare for about 3 weeks throughout the summer. And with very little benefit to, I think, the kid or the church. And so what we've crafted here is an incredible community. I mean, a real community of kids who really care about each other and know each other. And we want to build from that community. So we advertise this as really focused on Crosswalk kids and their friends, so that when new kids come in, they have immediate people with them. Now, if you have some friends that you think would be great and they would really love this, my encouragement to you is invite them to try on Kids Crossing for 2-3 weeks ahead of time. Because you know what happens then? They become Kids Crossing kids. And then they can figure out if they're going to actually want to be here for that week. So it's a different take on it than maybe we might originally think, but registration is now open. And maybe we've gotten this in the past. Maybe you have a grandkid and you're like, oh, our grandkid would just love this. I really want them to come. But you hear me talking about, kind of our rule here that we're trying to follow. Well, sometimes we will make the exception where you can bring your grandkids, but that means you're coming to kids camp too. And you're going to be helping us pull it off. So that's the caveat on that. Okay, switching gears a little bit. This is week number 6, the final week of the formal teaching campaign type thing. The campaign of our capital campaign is going to be going on. We're going to be raising money for a couple years because our projects are very large. But our focus on it and our worship services concludes today. We started 6 weeks ago talking about how we offer Oasis for people who are trying to figure out faith differently, place of safety to ask questions, to think different thoughts. And we welcome that here. Then we talked about offering sanctuary for those seeking immigration. And we really lean into this a couple ways. We partner with other organizations. We offer our space so that immigration clinics can happen right here around these very tables. And many, many, many dozens of people have gained their documentation that they needed to hopefully be safe here in our shores. But we also stand for the just treatment of people who are seeking immigration, that due process is a core part of our country's foundations. And so we want to stand up for that. And treating people with dignity and respect is also just part of who we are as people of faith and should be part of just being human beings. Then we talked about people who were kicked out of their places by Mother Nature, and we offered refuge. And we heard from a couple crosswalkers who experienced that reality. And we're very proud to be Napa County's first open, last to close evacuation shelter. So we lean into that. We talk about how we are a haven for people who are mistreated by their very identity. In our culture, we know that depending on your skin tones, you are treated with more or less equity and equality. And your gender also dictates those things and a host of other things. But we chose to lean into a couple weeks ago the LGBTQ community, because more than any other target group right now, they are targeted and they feel it and they know it. And we want to do everything we can to say, you are welcome here. You are treated as equals. You are affirmed for who you are in this space. Last week, we talked about how we are a safe space for recovery. Recovery really is transformation, really is an Easter theme. So I hope you really caught the connections between Easter, Resurrection Sunday, and what we heard from our own crosswalkers about the recovery process. And maybe it got you curious about your own recovery issues and your own need to recover from those things that you are addicted to, because we all are addicted to something, our egos, our worldview, whatever that might be. Today, we are talking about the fact that we offer Harbor for people seeking loving community. And to help unpack that more fully, I want to bring up Angie Barker Jackson, our own crosswalker here. And it was her birthday last Thursday, so let's hear it for that. Welcome. Try it now.
Good morning. Wow. You know, it's always a confidence boost when you start to speak and your technology doesn't cooperate. My name is Angie Barker Jackson, and I have been a member of Crosswalk for 2 years. And this morning, I'm particularly delighted to have been chosen to speak about this topic of Harbor during the capital campaign emphasis. Just to warn you, if you haven't gathered this already over the last couple of years, I am a lover of words and images and metaphors, and so this was an opportunity for me to play in my favorite medium. I've been reflecting on this topic for the last few weeks as I walked the San Francisco Bay Trail every morning around Marina Bay, the real life actual harbor where I live. And so I've seen boats come in and out and do all the things that they do at harbors as I reflected on this topic for this morning. So I invite you for the next few moments to consider harbor as both a noun and a verb. I told you I loved words. So I came to Crosswalk for the first time in January of 2023. And for the first few months, this place and all of you were very much a noun harbor in the most basic sense of the word. I, who was actually a we then, sailed in and out weekly to rest for a while, to restock spiritual supplies, and to do light maintenance before sailing back out into the open water of work and life. But then just 2 years ago this week, actually, the well-weathered but sturdy ship that had been my life for 28 years wrecked. And now it didn't crash in the traditional sense from some external storm or unseen obstacle. There was no iceberg, and there was no Leonardo DiCaprio. Instead, it imploded from the inside. All the little repairs from past struggles, hurts, and hardships began to splinter and break open. And the we suddenly became just a me. And when that happened, I was gutted. And I'll be honest with you, as a lifelong loner, I was tempted to dry dock my life, to padlock myself and my heart closed tightly, shut away like an old boathouse. But for some reason, the Spirit of God would not let me quit, would not let me withdraw, would not let me hide myself away. And one Sunday morning in those early weeks, we were worshiping in the courtyard, and Pastor Pete prayed fervently for the brokenhearted. And in that moment, all the noise around me and all the chaos swirling inside of me got really quiet. And I was simply known and loved and held in the presence of God. As I reflected on it these weeks in preparation for today, I realized that that prayer was probably a turning point for me. It was when I decided to drop my anchor here at Crosswalk. I could no longer simply sail in and sail out on Sundays and expect to repair the devastation that I was experiencing. So I began to come whenever I could, and even to brave I-80 during the work week. If you know, you know, right? I was anchoring myself to this community and holding on for dear life. And like good harbors do, Crosswalk sheltered me in that stormy season. It protected me from the gale forces that were blowing on the outside, and it helped me find healing for the extensive damage on the inside. And that brings me to harbor as a verb. In doing a word study of harbor, I discovered something that blew my mind and that I love more than you can imagine. One of the top synonyms for harbor as a verb is the word cherish. And it's the best expression of how I've experienced Crosswalk in the last 2+ years. When the loudest voices in my head told me that I wasn't enough or that I wasn't lovable, I came here, and Pete stood in this very spot and spoke over all of us that we are treasured and much beloved by God. And I was cherished. When I spoke my uncomfortable and painful truth out loud for the first time in this very spot, you didn't look away. You didn't abandon me. And I was cherished. When I thought I could never be the leader, teacher, and speaker that I once was, you all clapped for me in this room and encouraged me to keep leading and to keep teaching and to keep speaking. And I was cherished. When I was the loneliest, you all befriended me. Some of you took me to lunch. Some of you have hosted me in your homes. I was cherished. Over and over again, I have been and continue to be cherished in this community. It's been one of the most beautiful surprises of my life. And I'm here this morning because Crosswalk cherishes people. It surrounds them with encouragement, walks with them through difficult seasons, and offers authentic, safe community. For these reasons and so many more, I am supporting the Capital Campaign. And I invite you to join me by digging deep and giving above and beyond your regular offerings, to offer your resources and yourselves in the flow of God's generative and creative spirit that won't let any of us go, by the way. To trust that you have enough because you are enough. And to imagine together a future where people are cherished in this space for generations to come. Thank you.
Well, you certainly are cherished. Everybody here is. Even me. That was a great lead into this song. So Albert and I were driving back from playing in the snow, and I heard this song on the radio. I'm like, take a picture of this on the screen so because I want to do it. But I didn't really know what it was saying. It just hit me. And then I Googled it, of course, and there was no lyrics. And I was like, so I had to AI it and figure it out. And it's a great song. But then once I did that, I was like, what's it actually saying? You know, because I don't want to, just because I like the sound of it doesn't mean it's appropriate. And it's talking about that we're all warriors. But sometimes we have to tap into it and we have to find it. But we all have that gift. At least that's what I'm getting out of it. It's called No Natural. Take my hand out of my pockets, raise my eyes up from the floor. It's not time again for talking. Think it's time for something more. I've been holding back for hours. I've been holding in for years. Now I'm summoning the power. Now the words are coming clear. There's a light inside you trying to shine through. That's what I was told. If I could only see it and believe it, I'd learn to be bold. And maybe then I could quietly say, I'm no natural, but I'm okay. Give me faith enough to stand on water deep enough to swim. I'll show you hope enough to go on. Show you strength to begin. There's a light inside you trying to shine through. That's what I was told. If I could only see it and believe it, I'd learn to be bold. And maybe then I could quietly say, I'm no natural, but I'm okay. Ooh, 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 There's a hero hiding, arrows flying, waiting to be shown. If I could only see it and believe it, I'd learn to be bold. And maybe then I could quietly say, and maybe then I could quietly say, and maybe then I could quietly say, I'm no natural, but I'm okay. Thank you. I'm not used to singing this song without Reese. Yeah, I'm a rich man without a lick of money, a better than blessed man, had all I ever wanted. I've got everything I need, got love and a family. I'm a hard-working man, you plant a seed and sow it. A Sunday go to church man, and I need help to know it. But God's been good to me, better than he had to be. Yeah, in my soul, one thing I know, I ain't looking for a pot of gold. That ain't what this life means to me. I keep my head up high, feet on the ground, and I love the ones I'm living around. Life is just that simple to me. Yeah, I'm a rich man, I'm gonna tell the truth, man, just like my mama preached it. A red, white, and blue man, my daddy fought to free it. And man, I still believe in the land of the free. Yeah, in my soul, one thing I know, I ain't looking for a pot of gold. That ain't what this life means to me. I keep my head up high, feet on the ground, and I love the ones I'm living around. Life is just that simple to me. Yeah, I'm a rich man. Yeah, I'm a rich man without a lick of money. A better than blessed man, had all I ever wanted. I've got everything I need, got love in a family. Yeah, I got everything I need, I got love in a family. Thank you.
Away this time. Very good. It's time for our meditation moments. So I invite you to begin to get comfortable for that. What we're going to do during this time today is I'm going to lead you in a couple of visualization exercises, and then I'll conclude our meditation time with a quote from the Archbishop Desmond Tutu. So let's get comfortable, whatever that means to you. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with closing your eyes, or soften your gaze. Release any tension in your body, whether that's in your shoulders or your jaw. And take a couple of deep breaths, 2 or 3. Fill your belly. See if you can imagine filling all the way down to your toes with the good air, the good breath of God. And after you do that, just settle in, if you will. In this first visualization exercise, I invite you to call to mind a time or situation when you were cherished. See it, if you can, in your mind's eye. See if you can hear the sounds of that experience. Recall any physical sensations associated with it. Notice the smells and scents of the memories. And lean into the emotional response of being cherished. What does that feel like? We'll pause here for just a moment to relish the love and safety of being cherished. Now, for the second visualization exercise, I invite you not to recall, but to envision, not to remember, but to manifest a reality in your mind. Look with the eyes of your heart and dream big. What would our world and its people be like if we truly, deeply cherished one another? How might our families be transformed? Our neighborhoods, our cities, our nation. What could our daily reality be if Earth and all its creatures, including the human ones, lived in the safe and secure confidence of being cherished, not only by God, but by one another? Imagine, if you will, and see this world to come in your mind. Listen for the sounds of this reality. Notice any physical sensations that might accompany such a world. Breathe deeply of the smells and scents. Lean all the way into the emotions and feelings that this imagined reality stirs up for you. And here for just a moment, relish the possibility and promise of such a world. John the seer had such a vision and describes the world he saw in the biblical book of Revelation. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, made ready as one getting married, dressed for their spouse. I heard a loud voice from the throne say, "Look, God's dwelling is here with humankind. God will dwell with them, and they will be God's peoples. God will be with them as their God. God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. There will be no more mourning, crying, or pain anymore, for the former things have passed away." Then the one seated on the throne said, "Look, I'm making all things new." The Archbishop Desmond Tutu, in his book, God Has a Dream, writes this: "Dear child of God, before we can become God's partners, we must know what God wants for us. I have a dream," God says. "Please help me to realize it. It is a dream of a world whose ugliness and squalor and poverty, its war and hostility, its greed and harsh competitiveness, its alienation and disharmony are changed into their glorious counterparts. When there will be more laughter, joy, and peace, where there will be justice and goodness and compassion and love and caring and sharing. I have a dream that swords will be beaten into plowshares and spears into pruning hooks, that my children will know that they are members of one family, the human family, God's family, my family. In God's family, there are no outsiders. All are insiders. Black and white, rich and poor, gay and straight, Jew and Arab, Palestinian and Israeli, Roman Catholic and Protestant, Serb and Albanian, Hutu and Tutsi, Muslim and Christian, Buddhist and Hindu, Pakistani and Indian, all belong. May we join God in making it so. Amen.
Well, I hope everyone had a great Easter. Since you're my church family, I thought you might be interested to know that me and my partner got engaged on Easter. So that's good news. Well, today I found myself after searching all these years, and the man that I saw, he wasn't at all who I thought he'd be. I was lost when you found me here, and I was broken beyond repair. Then you came along and you sang your song over me. It feels like I'm born again. It feels like I'm living for the very first time. For the very first time in my life. Make a promise to me now. Reassure my heart somehow that the love that I feel is so much more real than anything. I've a feeling in my soul, and I pray that I'm not wrong, that the life I have now, it is only the beginning. It feels like I'm born again. It feels like I'm living for the very first time. For the very first time. It feels like I'm breathing. It feels like I'm moving for the very first time. For the very first time. I wasn't looking for something that was more than what I had yesterday. Then you came to me and you gave to me life and love that I've never known, that I've never felt before. It feels like I'm born again. It feels like I'm living for the very first time. I'm living for the first time. It feels like I'm breathing. It feels like I'm moving for the very first time. I'm breathing for the first time in my life. Thank you.
I was so excited to see the engagement announcement on Facebook, and I thought, if there's ever an excuse to miss Easter Sunday, that's a good one. So good job, man. And Albert, so happy to have you here, and we're so excited for you as well. It's so cool. You got a great guy here. All right. All right, so believe it or not, my portion today isn't going to be as long as it sometimes is. So you can feel good about that. Yes, thank you. Honesty, thank you, John Anderson. Can always count on you just at the right moment. All right, so anyway, we're talking today, continuing on this idea about Crosswalk as offering harbor for loving community. And Angie, just again, man, what a beautiful message you gave and your own experience, and then your meditation you gave us. Thank you for offering yourself and your giftedness. I'm so glad that you sense the nudge of God to lean in here and to become again, born again, really. So thank you for that. It was just extraordinary. It's really great. So Easter happened last week, and then the original Easter happened. And for a week or two or so, the disciples who'd followed Jesus for a while, they were kind of figuring out what to do, weren't quite exactly sure what to do. Then they got marching orders to go back to Jerusalem to hang out there until the Spirit came, which Jesus referred to in different Gospels in different ways. In the Gospel of John, it was the Paraclete, this partner, this other that's going to come alongside you and to help you along and give you words to say. And so they were hanging out in Jerusalem at the biggest festival in Judaism, which was called the Feast of Pentecost, where probably 100,000, 200,000 people would make their way there to celebrate the giving of the law of God. So the 10 Commandments and all of that. And they're hanging out in this upper room, could have been the very upper room that they had the first communion in, the Last Supper, if you will. And then this crazy thing happens, which we'll look at in a few more weeks, where the presence of God showed up in palpable, obvious ways. And everybody knew it. And it sort of blew everybody's mind and burst open the gates of grace. Now, all of a sudden, everybody was clear that the grace of God, the presence of God, the anointing of God was for everyone and already was. And now they get to walk into it. People wondered what the heck was going on. Peter is the leader of the disciples, now apostles, gives this grand sermon, tries to explain what's going on, encouraging everybody to give in to this grace of God movement. And according to the book of Acts, 3,000 people were added to the number that day. So pretty extraordinary day. Well, right after that, or not very long after that, the community of Jesus people formed. It was expanding. A lot of the people, when you're going to see the text that I'm going to show you, they were there just for Pentecost festival. They weren't going to be there much longer, but they found a new way of thinking and being and a new community that changed them. And this is what that community looked like. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all the while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. I love everything about this, that they are experiencing this true God community in such beautiful ways, just sharing with each other, looking forward to being together, having a great meal together and lingering in it, not like rushing through it so you can get to that Netflix series you want to watch. You know what I mean? I mean, just relishing in each other's company and joy. And I love this piece here. It's just a nod, enjoying the goodwill of all the people. I love it. And it concludes this section, and each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who are being saved. And remember, saved is bigger than getting your soul saved so you don't go to hell. Saved is being made well, being made more and more well. This is the root word of what this whole thing stems from. I think about Crosswalk in a lot of ways when I think about this passage, about the kind of community that we are creating and have created so far. Where there's a joy, there's a grace, there's a belonging, there's a becoming that's here. And I think about the ways that we have found the favor of the broader community. Crosswalk is popular. Well, at least with the non-church community, we're popular. The civic organizations, the nonprofits in Napa love us. They really do. It's a remarkable thing. And so I just want to celebrate that for a moment, that we harbor a gathered community that is unique and special. After I heard Angie talk about her experience, it made me want to attend Crosswalk even more. I might even become a member. We'll see. You know, we've had some research done here over the last year because two things. We wanted to prepare for this capital campaign and wanted to know if we were in a good place. Part of that process is a feasibility study where we get eyes on us through a survey that goes throughout to make sure there aren't any big problems that would get in the way of our success. There was a different survey that I encourage you guys to take last fall that was this national survey that we fed our information into. And so I got that information back. And then there was a study on strategic planning for our church that our board went through. And from all these different sources, this may not surprise you at all, but there were two primary reasons why people started showing up to Crosswalk. And almost invariably, people start showing up to Crosswalk online long before they show up here. So they already are familiar with me, what I teach, what I'm thinking about, what we are about. And so it won't surprise you that the top two reasons why people show up at Crosswalk are, first, our theological perspective. We're a progressive alternative. We offer a different way of thinking about the Bible, theology, the whole thing, all of that. And we're well known in the community for serving the community. And so sometimes people don't care so much about the God part. They're kind of like, yeah, that's neat, but I want to be a part of a church that actually does something for the community. And other people, it's the other side. It's like, I really need to work out my faith. And it's pretty cool that this church, serves the community so much. That's a real draw. I want to be at a church. If I'm going to work it out, I want to be at a church that's doing so much. Just a short brag point, not even a humble brag, just a brag for our church. So I was on a judging panel for CVNL, which is the Center for Nonprofit and Volunteer Organizations. And every year they do a large event where they celebrate different nonprofit leaders, board leaders, volunteers specifically, and organizations. And for the past several years, because I was a recipient of their leadership award several years ago, because of all that you and we have done together, right? I've been on the judging panels ever since to help understand the process. And so we were looking at these organizations. There are like 5 that we narrowed it down to, and looking at their applications and stuff. And we have to disclose, if we have any bias or any relationship that might get in the way. And all 5 of the top organizations we looked at, Crosswalk has a very strong relationship with. It's like we are partnering with all of them to help them do their thing, because all the things that they're doing are things that we want to be a part of. If it's immigration, if it's feeding people, if it's mental health, on and on and on it goes. And how cool is that, that we have that? So the leader of CVNL, she was like, good grief, I knew you guys did a lot. I didn't know you did that much for the community. So bragging right, and I love it. But after a while, those two things, while they're important and might get some of us in the door, the real secret sauce is what Angie referred to. And that's when it becomes more than just interesting intellectual engagement and more than just being a part of a place that's getting a lot done in the community. It becomes family. It becomes a connection, a real community where you know people and you're known by people, that you care about people, and you're cared about people. That's something that you cherish, and you're cherished. And that is what is possible here. And many of you, that is here. And for those of you who aren't there, it takes as much as just hanging out a little bit more, asking a few more questions of the person sitting around the table, hanging out for May the 4th be with you brunch. That kind of stuff. Because I'm going to tell you, Crosswalk's filled with amazing people. You are amazing people. And you really ought to get to know each other. I get a special perspective because I'm your pastor. So I know you. Sometimes I know you and your deep, dark secrets and what you're going through long before anybody else does. And I'm just telling you, you're beautiful people. Get to know each other. You'll be glad you did. I'll also want to tell you, this may surprise you, that Crosswalk harbors a diverse community. And you may look around the room and be thinking, what is Pete smoking today? Because it sure seems like we are very, very white here in this Crosswalk Community Church. Well, that's true. We are. And we are in Napa, which is predominantly white. Although 42% of Napans in Napa County are Latinx. So we need to appreciate and respect that. And we certainly do want to grow in our ethnic diversity. Don't get me wrong. That is really important to me, and it's really important to us to continue to do that and figure out how to do that. But at the same time, even though we're predominantly white, hey, I want to celebrate this, that we really do reflect ethnic diversity here. We are African American, we are Asian, we are European, we are Latinx, and we are Pacific Islander. We are. Now, you may not see it every week, but we are people who call themselves crosswalkers. This is us. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, one of the realities is, oh, somebody clapped. Thank you. It wasn't John this time. Yeah. Now, one of the things that we often mistake for diversity is we just simply go to ethnicity or skin tone. And while that is, again, something that we want to increase on, because we do live in a very, very diverse community. We really do. And in Napa County to our south, there is a very large Filipino community. Why are we representing the Filipino community here and African American community? Like I mentioned several weeks ago, the highest density of African Americans in the state of California by county is Solano County, just across the border. We should be reflecting that. So I want to, and we'll figure out how to do that. But the good news is that our diversity is much more than just ethnicity. Take a look at some of the ways that we are diverse. We are diverse in terms of age. We are spread out from cradle all the way up to deep into retirement age. Educational achievement from high school all the way up to PhD and postgraduate degrees. Gender identity, sexual orientation, neurodiversity, income levels, relationship diversity, and political persuasion. That is a rich tapestry of people. A few years ago, this gentleman passed away some time ago, but before he did, we had a couple conversations, and he would just ask me, I can't get my head around Crosswalk. He'd been a part of another church in the Valley for some time and came to us because of our theology. And he's like, I just can't figure you guys out. Because I come into the parking lot and I see every kind of car imaginable here. From a very, very, expensive high-end car to something that you're not quite sure it should even be on the road. You know what I mean? And he couldn't quite get it. And but that's it. I love that. And do you understand how cool that is? That some churches seem to get so homogenized, that they're all just kind of one flavor. But that's not Crosswalk. We've got it all here. And I think that speaks so much about the shalom that we try to represent and embrace. And I want to tell you, too, that our board of stewards reflects the membership. Now, some nonprofits, when they look for board members, they're looking for people with deep pockets who can bring a lot to the table, right? When we think about the board of stewards here, we're looking for a reflection of the whole. So our board of stewards is this, of all kinds of different backgrounds, so that when we come together to make leadership decisions, it's based on the whole of this beautiful tapestry. It's quite amazing. Now, other ways that we're diverse have to do with what we do with our lives, like work-wise. We've got professionals here, like CPAs, lawyers, the trades, health sciences, all levels of educational instruction from preschool all the way up to PhD level. Business people, medical field folk, we have lots of nurses and some doctors. Environmental sciences. We even have a rocket scientist that comes to Crosswalk, believe it or not. He's super excited about Star Wars Day, by the way. We have people with significant theological training here. I'm not the only reverend here. We have a reverend doctor right there. We have another reverend doctor that comes to the early service, Matt Rial, you know him, and others who've studied lots of this stuff. We have people in the arts of different flavors and forms. That's awesome. We have mental health professionals here. We have people who worked retail. in their life. We have full-time parent type folks. We've got people in the agricultural industry, which you may also know as the wine industry. We've got health services people. We've got students. We've got hospitality folks. We've got government services and more. We are a diverse congregation, and that is really something that is lovely and wonderful. To me, it speaks of the possibility of shalom, of the grace and love of God, that is the thing that draws us together. Shalom is that one thing, that Jewish Hebrew word, which means well-being. It is the essence of what salvation is all about. It is peace. It is holistic well-being, is what we are all called into. It is that thing that calls us forward to new ways of being. And it is that center. It is that gravitational force that makes Crosswalk Crosswalk. It is why we serve the community so much. Because if you're truly founded and informed and wooed and nudged by shalom, you cannot help but figure out ways to serve beyond yourselves. And we do that, and it's working here. Well, the other good news, and Angie certainly hit this, is that Crosswalk harbors a very loving community. And so what I want to do today is a little different. You may remember that about 7 weeks ago, we held a Crosswalk Moth event here, and we did it in both services. So the 9 o'clock, they had the same prompt that the 10 o'clock did, which was, how has Crosswalk been a safe space for you? The bummer of having two services is that you often don't hear from them and they don't hear from you. So I decided to change that today. So you're going to hear from 3 crosswalkers who attend the 9 o'clock service who are talking about how Crosswalk is a safe space for them. And in the 9 o'clock service, I gave them 3 of you to listen to that haven't been up here yet talking in this whole series. So I want to tell you too that the videography was done by me, and it is really Bush League, okay? So it is guerrilla style. You feel like you're sneaking up on somebody's testimony here. But these are 3 folks that most of the time you don't hear from in here, and I hope you enjoy it. Here you go.
Hi, if you don't know me, I'm John Fuller, and my wife Jacqueline, we relocated to this area about a year ago. And a year ago, I stepped down from our former church, being an elder after serving there for 3 years. And what was super refreshing about Crosswalk for me is I had become a person, I don't know if anybody's felt this before, of being a doer, but not being and resting in the Lord. Mm-hmm. And so this church was really a very, just a breath of fresh air for me. Our previous church used the teaching of Jesus about this analogy of being on the shore, getting in the boat, getting out of the boat, and service. And so I really took that to heart at our previous church and involved as an elder, children's ministry, hospitality. And I felt like I was out of the boat, but like Peter, I was sinking. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if anybody's ever felt that way when you're out of balance between service and being restored in the mood. And so what I really appreciated about this church was just having the space to be for a while. Mm-hmm. And, just through a lot of aspects, but like just the restorative breathing and that sort of thing was really just, like I said, a breath of fresh air for me. So if anybody's ever been in that position before, I just welcome you to do that. And I know that it's an inhale, exhale, and I know that there's going to be a time where God's going to call me to serve again once more. But for this season of life, it's been just super welcome. So super, super grateful for this church.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to speak this morning, but I didn't put on mascara, so I think there was another plan. Crying has been happening to me recently, but so has anger and joy and emotion. And my journey started here a year ago. And what I was looking for was a place of friendly places after moving from the family state of Massachusetts. the first Sunday I was here, I had done my research ahead of time for what was the diverse church that I was looking for. I did visit a couple other churches, but they weren't a match. And as I told Pastor Pete, they were my past and I was looking for my present and future. But what this church gave me took me out of the loneliness, the grieving of missing your family and your life. And yes, I moved here to be with my daughter, and that's great, but it's still a big adjustment. And every week I just came. Mary would greet me, Carol would greet me. I started learning names. And then, as my life opened up, I was trusted with my passion, which is health and nutrition. And to be able to give what you have to a community is huge. And that's diversity, inclusiveness also. We all have different ideas and strengths and histories in our life, that if this is a place we can share them. And every single one of us has something different to contribute to each other. And what I found is that part of me was finally welcomed. I had been to other churches where they had the rainbow out front, and my choir director was a gay man who was married, and I was thrilled. But the rest of the congregation was, we always keep those drapes because they're the right color. And we don't want what you have because it doesn't quite fit. It wasn't a conversation, an evolution, an inclusiveness of who are we as individuals and what do we have to give. So when I see sanctuary, it's not just a part of me that this church allows me to be, but it's my whole. And like you just mentioned about being, I had 10 years of doing to assist my parents and hold their hands before they passed. And I'm in the evolution of the now what? And the heart of Christianity has opened up, and that's where emotions, the walls are coming down, and the living life and having and sharing these emotions. So if you see me cry, I'm doing fine. That's actually a good sign. I'm not being the stoic New Englander. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I feel this is a safe place. I've lived in Napa for a little over 10 years. This is my third church. The first church I went to was because my daughter was in a children's program in the Central Valley, and we moved here when she was halfway through kindergarten. I felt, oh, that's a good transition. And then was there a couple years. I was a leader in that children's group, and that was fine at a time. But the preaching didn't align with my thoughts. And I felt in my gut, this isn't for me. And I didn't feel really welcome as a single parent. I felt looked down upon, and that didn't sit right with me. So we tried another church, and then something else was weird there. And then my friend, coworker that I worked with at Wine Direct, he said that his ex-wife was going here at one time. I don't think she's gone here for quite some time. And said, you should really check out this church. My ex-wife said, Pastor Pete's awesome, blah, blah. So I looked online, I came here, I think I came here to this service first, met Karen, who gave me a welcome bag, and she just seemed so, so sweet. And then later brought my daughter, and that she was like in 4th grade. And then anyway, it's been very welcoming here. Making friends, going to Praxis. I feel that my journey as a Christian has changed. I'm a reader anyway, but with the Praxis and reading the books, I feel like I'm more in tune to my spirituality now. And it's just been very welcoming and making new friends. And across ethnic backgrounds, diversity, made a friend through my gym that is trans. I decided to call that person a few weeks ago. I probably would not have done that before, right? And just see, how are you, or not call, I texted, like, how are you doing, kind of thing. I'm gonna see you at the gym. And I feel like I'm become a changed person because of Crosswalk. And I feel like I'm a better version of me because of this church and the people that support me here. So thank you.
The reason this is a safe place for me is because of the diversity. The diversity with the faces and the life stories, but also with the concept of diversity of thought and diversity in my theological, the questions that I have. And Pastor Pete has really laid out a large spectrum that so many people can fit into. We don't all have to agree 100% with what is presented before us. And that to me is very helpful because it allows me to explore and allows me to evaluate and it allows me to grow. That's what it's saying.
Right, so I love church. I've gone to church my whole life. I grew up a Catholic. My parents loved church. We participated in the church. And it's a place for me who tends to be I keep very busy. So I like doing works and knowing that I can go to church and then I just stop all the things that I'm doing. It forces me to do that so I can feel the presence of God, which I do all the time, but to stop and just focus on that. And then I wanted to go to a church that was just a little bit more inspiring to me than the church that I'd grown up in. And I loved the church I went to here in Napa. And I believed that it was welcoming to all. They said they were. And then I started to realize that that wasn't exactly what they meant. Like, you're welcome to come, some of you, as long as you change after you come. And our oldest daughter is gay. She married her partner, Jill, in October of 2023. And I was going to this church and thinking, my daughter would actually not be welcome here. I just can't do that anymore. And so my friend Peta, who I had brought to that other church, introduced me to Crosswalk. And coming here and knowing that everyone here would welcome my daughter just gives me so much hope and joy. And so I know that it's a safe place for my family and for us. And so
Awesome.
I love it here.
Thank you, Judy. So I hope that you intuitively, just naturally are asking the question, how has this community shaped you already? And I hear that as pastor. I see that. I see the growth in you, even if you don't all the time. But it's a remarkable place that we have here. And this whole capital campaign is just trying to make sure that this remarkable place continues on into the deep future. When we talk about this stuff, the really exciting projects of a new roof and a new parking lot, those aren't the sexiest things out there to raise money for. But we will benefit from them here at Crosswalk. You and I, we will not have a roof leaking on us, which is wonderful. And you will not have to balance your wheels as often because our parking lot will not have as many potholes. So that's very good. But deep to the heart of what Crosswalk is about is serving others. And so it's not just about us. It's about how are we coming alongside this place, this organization, to make sure that the 90% of the time this place is used is to serve the greater good. That's remarkable. There aren't too many things you can invest in that are going to have that kind of immediate impact for a long time. Now, because we are very diverse here in many, many ways, and one of those ways has to do with our economic capacity, I know that, and some of you have even shared it with me, I just don't have that much. I don't have a lot of cash, and so I feel bad I can't do more. Here's what I want to say to you. I know, and it's okay. Do the best you can. We so appreciate anything that you can do to help. Really, you're a part of it. So thank you for whatever level of support. And some of you are like, no, seriously, Pastor Pete, I've got like a nickel. That's it. And so I would say to you, as I think Jesus would have said to the woman who was forced to give up her last mite, you know that story? I think Jesus would have said to that woman, if it was his decision, he would have said, keep your widow's mite. Go have a cup of coffee for Pete's sake, right? That is inappropriate that you would give up your last penny to enrich, the Pharisees of that day. But here's what I will say. You may not have cash, but you may have feet. And so when we do something fun to include the kids, like a trike-a-thon, bike-a-thon, walk-a-thon kind of thing, maybe you could help us with that. Put your pedal power, to use. Or if we want to have a fun event here, you can invite friends to that fun event here this summer. Or if we're going to do an auction, you can bust it a little bit to find some people who might give us some stuff. There's all kinds of ways that you can be a part of this and contribute. Now, others of you are on the opposite side of the spectrum, and you may have significant capacity to do something to be helpful toward this campaign. And to you, I just want to say, do the best you can. Do the best you can. I've already talked to many of you, and you've told me, all right, well, this is kind of where I'm at. This is what I'm able to do. And I'm telling you, Pastor Pete, this is the least that we hope to do. And the reason they say that is because we don't know what's going on because of the administration's maneuvers in the global economy with the tariffs. We don't know how that's going to play out in the short term. We don't know what that's going to do in terms of global economic instability long term. Can the American economy be trusted, or can it be changed that radically so fast? All those questions. And so the financial advisors of some crosswalkers are saying, well, don't do anything with any of your securities right now. I get that. In some ways, maybe this is the worst time to have a capital campaign. And yet, I have faith. I have faith that together, of all of our varying capacities, if we do the best we can, I think God's going to do some stuff in ways that we don't see. It's going to come from us. We may find ourselves stretching more than we thought we could, and that's a good thing, and that will bring us joy in the end. I think we will, because of all that God is doing here, we will see more things like Dar celebrated already about some other organization that wants to benefit Crosswalk because of all that we do. I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see, especially if we pray that the Spirit of God will work in powerful ways, I think we're going to find some people in Napa who have significant capacity who want to get alongside and support us in very significant ways because they're fans of Crosswalk, even if they never attend here. Who knows what's possible? There's this scripture that says that God owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And I think sometimes God sells some of those cattle. And I think sometimes God sells some of those cattle to do things for a very physical small church like Crosswalk. So I'm just asking you to do the best you can in light of who Crosswalk is, as a place where you can ask the hard questions and grow your faith, as a place that looks out for those who need help, like folks seeking immigrant documentation. For those who are kicked out of their house by Mother Nature, Crosswalk's doors are open. For those who are mistreated because of their color of their skin or how they identify, whatever that is, Crosswalk says, we welcome you, we affirm you. For those who are in recovery and may be afraid to show their face in other places, we say, you are welcome here. We are with you. We want to learn from you, in fact. And today, we celebrate the fact that this is genuine community that has brought us to this place, and it will continue to welcome more. as we finish out today, I encourage you to get your pledges to us today, either in the box in the back or do it electronically through Realm. That helps us as a leadership group know our next steps to take. That's why we want it. It's not to, put the screws to you or anything like that. It's just so that we can make an informed decision on what we need to do down the pike. Next week, we will announce, what has come in so far. And we were already thrilled. The Board of Stewards and the treasurer and our clerk, our church clerk, board secretary, and our pastoral staff here, we've already committed $106,000 collectively toward this initiative, which is a big deal. And I'm looking forward to seeing what next week's number will be when we get that final total for now. And realize it's 2 years in the making. So you may do something right now, and you may be thinking, boy, I sure wish I could do more. And guess what? That day may come for you. We'll see. Just do the best you can. Let's pray together, and then we can be on our way. God, how can we be anything but grateful today for all the ways your Spirit has moved in our midst? Not just in this service, which I know it has. I've been moved by what I've heard today. I've been moved by what I heard through Angie and her testimony, and then later on, moved in her meditation. I've been moved in Brian's songs, which are so approachable, so lovely, so real, so down to earth. I love who Brian is and what he brings to the table. I've sensed your presence in Dar, celebrating all the great things that are happening here, ways that people want to be a part of this place. I've been touched by the voices, remembering those voices that already shared what happened to them and why they're here in the first place. God, you are incredible, and you're doing incredible things in this space. We want to continue to be more involved in what you want with our lives. And so nudge us as we need to be nudged. Remind us that we are deeply loved, even cherished, so that as we step out in faith, whatever that might be, we would do it with joy, just joy. It's with deep gratitude, God, that we ask you to keep us safe on our way. We ask this in the name of Jesus, who we follow. Amen. Thanks for coming. Hope you have a great week. See you next week. May the 4th be with you.